All right, let's talk about cybersecurity. Now, I get it, that word can sound super technical, maybe even a little intimidating, but what if I told you it's really just about one thing: protecting our digital lives? And that's exactly what we're going to break down today. So let's start with a big question. What's actually protecting your digital life? I mean, really think about it for a second. Your emails, your bank info, all those photos you saved, that stuff is valuable, and it all lives inside what you can think of as your own personal digital fortress. So today, we're going to take a tour of that fortress, see how it's built, how to defend it, and how to make it stronger. Okay, so before we start putting up walls or posting guards for our fortress, we gotta figure out what we're actually protecting, right? What are the crown jewels we're trying to keep safe? Well, in the security world, it all boils down to these three core ideas, something they call the CIA triad. First up is confidentiality. It's pretty simple, actually. It's just the guarantee that your information stays secret, away from prying eyes. It's like a sealed private letter. Confidentiality is the magic that makes sure only the person it's addressed to can actually open and read it. Then we've got integrity. This is all about making sure your data is trustworthy, that it hasn't been changed or messed with by someone who shouldn't have touched it. Think about an official document with an unbroken wax seal. That's integrity. It tells you, hey, you can trust this. It's the real deal, completely unchanged. And the last piece of this puzzle is availability. And this one's maybe the most straightforward. Can you get to your stuff when you need it? It's that simple. It's like having a key to your own house that always works. Because think about it, what good is a secure system if it locks you out? Security has failed at that point. So there you have it, confidentiality, integrity, and availability. That's the treasure we're guarding. All right, so we know what's inside our fortress. We know it's valuable. But here's the thing. Every fortress has people trying to get in. And these attackers, they aren't just running up and banging on the walls randomly. No, they've got a playbook. They're smart. They're casing the castle, looking for that one little crack, that one weakness they can use to get in. Generally speaking, attackers have two main ways they go about this. First, there are passive attacks. You can think of this like an eavesdropper, just quietly listening in, gathering information, trying not to get caught. Then you have active attacks. These are way more direct. This is when they're actually trying to change your data, shut down your system, or just flat out smash through the gates. So one is spying, the other is sabotage. And this whole process usually follows a pretty clear 5-step plan. It all starts with reconnaissance. That's just fancy talk for gathering intel, scoping out the target. Next, they start scanning for any weak spots. Phase 3, that's the big one, gaining access, the actual break-in. But it doesn't stop there. Once they're in, they work on maintaining access, maybe leaving a secret back door so they can get in again later. And finally, the last step is clearing their tracks, wiping away any evidence they were ever there. And here's the big takeaway. Hacking is almost never a single event. It's a whole campaign. And that means defending our fortress is all about finding ways to break that chain at any of those 5 steps. So we've seen their playbook, but how do they actually pull it off? What are the common weak points they're always looking for? Let's talk about the digital equivalent of an unlocked gate or a crack in the foundation. And we have to start with one of the most classic and, frankly, one of the most dangerous attacks out there, SQL injection. This quote really nails it. This isn't a small thing. It can be completely devastating. We're talking about an attack that can expose all of a company's confidential data. So what exactly is it? Okay, imagine a website's login form. It's expecting you to type in your username, right? Well, with an SQL injection, the attacker doesn't type a name. They type in a secret command, disguised as a name. And the website's database gets tricked. It thinks, oh, this is a command I need to run. And just like that, it might spill all of its secrets or even give the attacker complete control. And here's a perfect visual of how that works. On the left, you see a totally normal login form. Simple enough. It's asking for a password, but instead of a password, the attacker types in that tricky line of code. Now look at the right. That's what the server actually sees. That chunk of code is basically a tiny little instruction that says, hey database, don't worry about the password, just let me in. And boom, the door just swings wide open. But, attackers are smart. They know that sometimes the weakest link in the entire fortress isn't the code. It's us, people. This is called social engineering, and it's basically the art of manipulating people into just giving up their keys. I bet you've seen this stuff before. Phishing, those fake emails trying to get your password. There's even whaling, which is just phishing that specifically targets the big fish, the CEOs. And of course there's scareware. You know those pop-ups that scream your computer's infected, trying to panic you into buying some bogus software? At its core, it's an attack on our human trust. Okay, that's enough doom and gloom about the attackers. Let's pivot. Let's talk about defense. How do we actually fight back and protect our fortress? Well, it's all about having the right combination of digital guards, really strong gates, and some clever secret codes. Okay, two words you're going to hear a lot are authentication and authorization. They sound similar, but they're totally different. Here's the easiest way to think about it. Authentication is proving who you are. It's like showing your ID at the main gate of the castle. Authorization is what you're allowed to do once you're inside. Does your ID get you into the royal treasury or just the stables? See the difference? One proves you're you, the other says where you can go. So how do we make that authentication, that ID check, basically unbreakable? We use something called multi-factor authentication, or MFA for short. All this means is that you need more than one kind of proof that it's really you. It's not just a password anymore. It's like needing your key, that's something you have, and your password, that's something you know. Maybe you even need a fingerprint scan, that's something you are. Every extra factor you add is like adding another deadbolt to the door. It's a huge deal for security. And of course, we have to talk about one of the oldest and honestly coolest defenses we have, cryptography. The art of secret codes. I mean, this isn't a new idea. This stuff has been around for literally centuries. We're talking simple letter-swapping ciphers in ancient Rome, all the way up to those incredible mechanical Enigma machines from World War II. And now to the powerful digital algorithms like RSA and AES that basically run the secure internet. The technology is worlds apart, but the mission? It's exactly the same. Keeping secrets safe. So yeah, having guards and secret codes is absolutely essential. But what if I told you the single most effective strategy is something else entirely? It's about building a stronger fortress right from the start. Not patching it later, but building it right from day one. It all comes down to the blueprint. And this quote, this says it all. This is the core philosophy of modern cybersecurity. It is much less costly to build secure software than to correct security problems when it has been completed. Think about that. It's just so much smarter and cheaper to build a strong wall in the first place than to spend all your time and money patching holes after it's been attacked. This idea, proactive security, is the absolute gold standard today. So you might be wondering, where do people get these blueprints? How do they know how to build things securely? Well, one of the biggest helpers in the entire world for this is a group called OWASP. That stands for the Open Web Application Security Project. They're a nonprofit, a community, and they give away amazing free resources and guidelines, like their super famous OWASP Top 10 list, which basically tells every developer, hey, these are the 10 biggest dangers you need to watch out for. And this is where it gets really fascinating. Look at this. This chart breaks down those top risks based on the programming language being used. It shows that different building materials, whether you're building with Java or Python or PHP, they all have slightly different built-in weaknesses. So something like an injection attack is a risk pretty much everywhere, but other vulnerabilities might pop up way more in one language than another. And that's exactly why having a guide like OWASP is so critical. So what does this secure blueprint actually say? What are the rules? Well, it boils down to some really solid fundamental principles. Rule number 1. Validate all your inputs. In simple terms, never ever trust data that a user gives you. Always check it. Rule number 2, use specific defenses, like what are called parameterized queries, to shut the door on those injection attacks we talked about. And rule number 3, and this is a big one, the principle of least privilege. It just means you only give a program or a user the absolute bare minimum power they need to do their job, and nothing more. These aren't just good ideas. They are the very foundations of a well-built digital fortress. And that brings our tour to a close. We've looked at the treasure we're protecting, the playbooks the attackers use, and the blueprints for building a stronger defense. So I'm going to leave you right back where we started, with that same question, but hopefully now it means a little bit more. How secure is your fortress? Thanks for joining me on The Explainer.